To do video, and in today's video I'm back with another interview. I'm here with Jack Hughes. Jack, how are we doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It is a pleasure to have you back on the channel, and I mean, the last time we spoke to you it seemed like it would been retirement kind of era, but we're now back with you fighting again. And just for anybody that doesn't know, am I right in saying you're a 31-year-old super flyweight who's 9-2-1?
That is right, mate.
Lovely stuff. Well, just as the starting question, overall, mate, how's life been? What you been up to?
Yeah, mate. Life's been treating me very well. Not been up to too much, just working away at my job. I started a family now, so I've got a little girl that was born around 4 months ago now. And then yeah, I just found my love for boxing again and picked it up, and I've obviously had my comeback fight, and I'm which was last Saturday, and I'm fighting again this Saturday.
Of course, no. First of all, congratulations on the baby. A big congratulations. And just for boxing, you returned to it, and like you said, you got the win in last weekend. It was a good, solid win, a good performance to get you back into it. And what was that kind of overall reason as to why you did come back?
To be honest, mate, I just kind of I think I just found my love for it again. I when I was very stressed out last time around, there was a lot going on. Like my gym was very far away. It was a 2 hour journey to get there, and then a 2 hour journey to get back. So that's like 4 hours out of my day straight away just from traveling. And it was all just getting on top of me, like the making weight and so on and so forth. But then when I've obviously found my new gym, it was a lot closer to home. It took a lot of stress away from things. I just really started to enjoy the environment again. And yeah, I just found my love back to boxing, which was why I decided to come back.
Hmm. Yeah, of course. It's great to see that you have found that. Some of them fighters sometimes fight through that kind of period where maybe they're not enjoying it as much, and then it's
Mm.
then more difficult for them to go to them kind of dark places that you have to go to. And how important is it to enjoy the sport most, first of all?
Oh, mate, it's the most important thing. I mean, if you're not enjoying it, there's really no point in doing it,
Mm.
because if you don't enjoy boxing, you'll probably find yourself skipping training days and skipping runs and not dieting as well as you should be. And then there will be someone that is enjoying it and is taking it, 100% serious. And if you come across that person, it's not going to be a very good day for you,
Mm.
pretty much.
Mm. Of course, and you see a lot of fighters nowadays, especially, not trying to say that you're old or anything like that, but you've now experienced that kind of retirement phase, and you see a lot of fighters nowadays who struggle to an extent to stop fighting, and then they go and have these kind of exhibition fights and things like that. And do you feel like there is, or maybe there should be, some sort of support for fighters when they do get to that older age, so they don't necessarily have to go back into fighting, or they don't necessarily, or they can find stuff better or find stuff easier outside the ring that's not just going in and fighting, especially when they are getting a bit older, when you see people fighting when they're like 50 and stuff like that.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say this, because I have this conversation a lot with people, and I don't really think there should be, because I don't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like there's millions of jobs in the world, and boxing. It's not even necessarily so much boxing, but it seems to be like celebrity sports like boxing, football, and so on and so forth. It seems to be the only method or reasoning we have behind this is when it comes to the big superstars and stuff, that they need this, foundation that they can fall back on when they call it a day. But when it's anything else, if you're, I don't know, like a I don't know, like if you're a potato lady, or you work in a store, or you work in a shop, or wherever it is, if you're a builder or something, no, there's no one ever says, oh, we need something to fall back on for these people that have been building for 20, 30 years. And, when they stop, where's their support system? But it only seems to be like, the big celebrities. Like, is it Gary Lineker, a footballer?
Mm-hmm.
No. What's the one that Paul Gascoigne is? The one that's always drunk all the
Mm-hmm.
time? Yeah. And always, every time they see him drunk on the street, they was like, oh, he never had anything to fall back on, and there was no support system for him. Like, I just find it a bit of a myth, and it's like, I don't know. It's like always seems people always want to seem to help out the celebrities, and they don't really care about the little guys. I think there is life after everything, and I just don't really believe in these support systems that are needed. You know, that's just my view on it, anyway.
No, of course, no, I appreciate that, and I feel like you have one of the best views on it because you're not necessarily as this Anthony Joshua level superstar. It's like you've got that kind of maybe more humble kind of view on it, and
Yeah.
it's and you've also you know the game and you know the kind of small hall and what that is all like, and do you still kind of maybe when you do stop fighting, do you still want to maybe go into looking at stuff like the small hall kind of scene and getting involved with that?
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't bother me if I never did. But there's other views that I want to go down. I mean, I've got my second license, so I can always jump in the court. Well, my coach's license, I can always jump in corners for people, or I can be their second or whatever. And I was thinking about going down maybe the matchmaking route, so I can get fighters matched because I've kind of like dabbled in it myself a little bit, and I quite enjoy it. I quite enjoy picking my opponents and looking online to see who's more suitable for me and so on and so forth. So that's another avenue I could go down, and another avenue I'm thinking of going down. So I'm sure that when I eventually do call it a day again, that there will be like aspects that I'll be involved in the sport.
Of course. Sorry if you can hear any background noise as well. My dog is going crazy as per usual.
It's not good. I can't hear nothing.
Cool,
Okay.
lovely stuff. So I mean, you've got this new coach now, and seems like I mean, so far you've started off with a victory with him. I don't think he was in your corner for that fight, was he?
No, he wasn't in my corner. No.
No. But of course, you're working with him now, and do you feel like you're seeing kind of improvement straight away?
Yeah, massively. I was speaking to him the other day. Funny enough, when I first started boxing, I wasn't really looked at as someone that was very good. I wasn't even probably looked at as someone that was considered average. I was quite looked down upon, and over the years, obviously, I've improved and I've gotten better and I've won titles and stuff. But since I've been with Aaron, it's like he's taken me to this whole new level, and I had probably the best sparring I've ever had for this camp. Like I sparred, two European champions, I sparred world champions. I had people come over from Italy to spar, and so on and so forth. And I was competing with them, and every time like the spar was finished, they was very like grateful for the work that I had given them. And I kind of sat there and thought, I never thought I would get to a stage in my career where I could spar like world-class people and give a good credible account of myself. But that's the kind of where I am now in my career. I'm a guy that I can go into any gym probably in the UK, and I can give any fighter in the UK good rounds, and they would have me back any day of the week. And now I'm bringing that into the ring now, and I won my Southern Area title, and I believe that there's more titles on the horizon for me.
Of course, that's brilliant. And I mean, from this kind of last fight you had, of course it was a 4-rounder. You've been a year out, but to be honest, I mean, I watched it and it didn't really seem like you had been a year out. You came in, obviously it wasn't like a crazy good opponent, but like, sometimes them fights can be more difficult because they're not really coming to win, and then you can get drawn into their type of fight. But you looked very comfortable, back foot kind of fluid motions, and kind of went through the gears when necessary, and it looked very comfortable for you. And was that just kind of like, first of all, you just showing that little thing that maybe people have missed from you not being there for a year out, just showing a little bit and then maybe showing a little bit more with this next fight coming up?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Like as you said, it was only a 4-rounder, so for me, I'm a 10-round fighter now. I'm a seasoned pro. I've had 4 title fights, 3 of them being 10-rounders. So it does take me a while to get into the groove of thing, and I felt like I was just starting to get into my groove, and especially in the 4th round, I was really putting it on him. I was hurting him, and I could hear him every time I was hitting him to the body that he wasn't enjoying it. And yeah, so that was, it was my comeback to show everyone I'm still here, I'm still relevant, and I feel like I'm going to take that performance and bring it on to the next one on Saturday, and I'm going to start basically how I ended that fight. I'm gonna start this fight how I ended the last fight, and I'm gonna be in full swing, I think, on Saturday again.
Amazing. And I mean, you see certain fighters, they have a break, then they come back, and then they maybe struggle a little bit with activity coming back. But I mean, to have two fights in such quick succession, is it just such a, I suppose, privilege to your management, and is it just so nice to have them two fights in quite quick succession?
Oh yeah, mate, I absolutely loving it. I had such a big buzz on Saturday when the fight was finished. I'm still buzzing from it, and yeah, I just get to take it into next week and have a whole new buzz again. So it's great from my management team. I moved management team to TM14 and Mo
Mm-hmm.
Pryor. It's like a joint collaboration with both of them, and yeah, they're keeping me active. They treat me like a superstar. I always felt that I was kind of a superstar in small hall boxing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere I go, everyone knows who I am
Mm-hmm.
in on the small hall scene. And I always felt like I deserved to be treated a little bit better than I was in my last promotion. I feel like I get that now. They as we spoke about, they've got me out twice, two fights in 8 days, pretty much, and they want to get me out two more times before the year ends. So that would be four fights in probably, I think, 4 months or something, 4 or 5 months. So yeah, it's just good to be back, and it's good to be active, and I'm loving life as a boxer again. I'm loving life with my new management team.
Of course, and I mean they're a great promotion. I've seen what they've been doing. They've been putting on some big shows, ones
Mm.
which, I mean, at this point with the whole kind of small hall scene, there's a lot of these shows aren't really seen as small hall, especially not as much as they used to be back in the day. And do you feel like it's credit to the development of boxing in general, where you do have these promoters now, not just with TM14, they've got other ones like Top Tier and GBM Sports that are classed as small hall, but they're putting on great shows, and is it just so nice to see?
It is, mate, because it's giving boxing more of a recognition. As I said in an interview before I did before, that the reason I left my last promotional team is because people were coming. The money's going up for tickets, and it's like £50, which is a lot of money,
Mm.
and it might be even be going up again sooner or later. And I'm selling these tickets, and the people that are coming to watching, they didn't feel like they was getting to watch professional boxing anymore. Like the shows were very dimmed down. There was no lighting. There was no stage. There was no smoke. There was nothing. And I feel like that if I'm selling people tickets at such a price, they deserve to come and experience a night of professional boxing.
Mm.
And I feel like TM14 are offering that, like with their shows at York Hall. They're incredible. I've been to loads of them, and I've always felt like I'm there watching professional boxing. Top Tier, what they're doing, I've heard amazing things. I haven't actually been to a show yet, but I've heard incredible things. That they was on Sky,
Mm.
and a lot of people that I know that went said if you didn't know who was running the show, you would have thought it was a Matchroom show. And these are the things that not only do the fans deserve, but the fighters deserve to be a part of these kind of shows as well, because we sacrifice everything. We sacrifice time away from our families. We sacrifice. Some people stop working for fights. So we sacrifice everything, and we deserve big nights, and we deserve to be involved in promotional teams that want to put us out there and put their promotion out there. And I feel like that's what a lot of the small hall promotions are doing at the moment, and I think it's great.
It is indeed, and I mean, from the way I've kind of seen you fight, it seems like to an extent you're a little bit of a showman. You like to put on a good show and a good fights for the
Yeah.
fans. And do you feel like when you have these shows that are, like you said, TM14 putting on these top level shows, do you feel like they bring out the best in you as well?
Yeah, of course they do, because as you said, I am a showman and I like to put on a show. So if the promotional team themselves ain't putting on a show as well, it kind of just leaves it all down to me to entertain the fans. But when you're on a TM14 show, you've got the ring walk. You come out, there's like little firework things that go off. They've got people recording it. like on great quality cameras. You've got the interviewing teams at IFL coming down, and it's just it's a great promotion, and it takes some like kind of stress off me. It's not all on me to deliver the fight of the year performances, which I'm going to do regardless anyway of wherever you put me in. But it helps with, as I was just saying, it helps with everything. Like when the fans come, it's not that they're just sitting there thinking, right, where's the lighting? This is meant to be professional boxing, and then it's just they're just waiting for me to come on. They've got a whole show to enjoy as well. So yeah, man, it takes massive like pressure off my shoulders and everything.
It's amazing. And so for your current self, what would you say is your main motivation for the moment for boxing?
Well, obviously I've just had a little girl, so my main motivation would probably just to make her proud. I mean, I'm sure I have already done that anyway, but you know, in a couple of years' time, I just want her to look back and think like, wow, my dad was a professional boxer, and my dad won this, and my dad won that, and like she's got something to tell her friends, and so on and so forth. And years, that was probably my main motivation.
Indeed, and I mean, we kind of touched upon this a bit already, but for fighters who are coming up, I mean, you're kind of past that early stage now where you're just fighting the first 5 fights, but do you know how important it is to really kind of sell yourself as a fighter? And it seems like you've definitely done that well.
Oh, it's the most important thing in small ball boxing, because you know we've touched on it a little bit with ticket sales and stuff. You know, if you don't sell tickets in small ball boxing, you don't get to fight. So if you're not giving, you know, if you're not selling yourself and putting yourself out there for people to invest and buy in you just ain't going to be fighting. Like for people that don't really know how it works, I mean, it's been a while since I've actually had to do this properly, but when I first started, if you was doing a 4-round fight, you had to sell about 65 tickets just to fight, and in that 65 tickets, you wouldn't even earn a single penny. It goes to your promoter. It goes to your covering the cost of your opponent, covering the venue cost, and so on and so forth. So for you to actually earn anything, you would have to start selling over 60 tickets. So from 60 to 100 is what you earn. So if you sold 100 tickets, you walk away with about $1,000, which isn't a lot for selling 100 tickets, which is a big ask, and not many people can do it. You know, you're only walking away with $1,000, considering you've just done a hard 8-week grueling camp getting ready for this. So yeah, you literally have to be on Instagram all the time, posting all the time, selling yourself all the time, putting yourself out there, you know, going into pubs or whatever, handing out leaflets, and it's what you have to do if you want to be successful in boxing, unfortunately.
Of course, and I've heard certain fighters kind of talk about the financial side of it. Like you said there, I mean, you have to even pay sometimes for your opponents, and that I mean, realistically on paper doesn't really sound fair, because you're paying to then beat somebody up, which it's messy. And I mean, I think it was Terence Crawford the other day on the podcast, he was talking about how you have to pay for the belts as well, and it's like, well, you've won that, why do you have to pay for that? And do you feel like the financial side, especially of like even lower level boxing as well, do you feel like that is just such a tough kind of game at the moment?
It is, mate. Boxing and probably, well, most fighting combat sports are the hardest sports in the world, and you know, we don't necessarily always get treated fairly. And as you just literally just said, you know, I've worked my whole life to win a Southern Area title, and if I wanted to keep it, I had to pay for it, and I had to pay like £600 for it. So you know, it's not like it's not even cheap to keep the belts that you win. And you know, as I said, I worked my whole life for it. I earn it. I should be entitled to keep it. It's the only sport in the world, actually, that I know that you win something and you have to pay for it. So yeah, I mean, it's not fair. Life's not fair, and boxing certainly isn't fair.
Of course. We'll move on to a bit more of maybe a nicer topic now, and just for your kind of self and this point in your career. Of course, you're coming back. You're going to be wanting to kind of get titles again. And what is this kind of end ambition for you?
The end ambition for me is I definitely want a couple more titles.
Hmm.
I would like to. My absolute dream goal would be to win the Commonwealth
Hmm.
belt. So that would be my end ambition. But and I believe I'll get there, and I believe I'll do it, and I believe I'll do it within the next year or two.
Hmm.
So when I eventually get that belt, we'll just see where life and boxing takes me after that.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, do you still have this Southern Area belt to your name, or is this now been vacated?
I I think it's been vacated because when I announced my retirement, obviously I wasn't going to be fighting anymore, so they
Hmm.
needed me to like clarify that I was actually officially retired. So I sent them like the emails and stuff. But yeah, no one's fought for it since, and there's no fight scheduled for it. And every time I come to the ring, they still announce me as the Southern Area champion.
Hmm.
But I think technically it has been vacated, and people can fight for it. But I mean, no one's fought for it yet, so I'll still hang on to it and claim that I'm the Southern Area champion.
Hmm. Of course, of course. And so, do you feel like, to an extent, now you've got that kind of title that you're past that, and when you've had these kind of couple fights to get yourself back into it, then you're going to be looking for possibly English level.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, mate. I wouldn't fight again for the Southern Area. Well, never say never, but
Hmm.
really, I wouldn't want to.
Hmm.
I've been around Southern Area level now. I think since 2018 was the first time I fought for it.
Hmm.
So it's been about 5 years I've been around Southern Area level. So there's no point for me sticking around. And I mean, even I don't like to think this way, but just say I did go back to Southern Area level when I lost, then I'm sticking around at Southern Area level for another year
Yeah.
or two at least. So there's no point. I might as well move on with my career and try and get bigger and better titles now.
Of course, and I'm sure that will be the case, mate. And I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You got a little bit of a platform. Is there anything you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, yeah, just thank you to everyone that supported me. Thank you to my promoters, TM14 and Mo Pryor, because they've done an amazing job getting me back out. They put on amazing shows, and yeah, like thank you to my sponsors, Forrestal and Son, uh, Hunters Weatherby, um, Hilton Grove. Thank you to my Mrs. Terry Jane for doing all my fight kits. If anyone wants a fight kit made, go look her up. Tezabels is her company. And yeah, just thank you to everyone that buys a ticket and has supported the journey for 7 years. Keep getting behind me, keep supporting me, and there's going to be some more big nights ahead.
I'm sure there will be, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you again, and I'm sure we will speak again further along down the line. Hopefully, I'll end up coming to one of your fights at some point, and I mean, we'll see. I mean, last time things changed quite drastically from the time we speak to now, so hopefully it won't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
changed too much since then. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Jake.
Thank you for having me on, mate.
Lovely stuff. And so if you're new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and thanks for watching.